1963 to 1947. We're at the Henry Ford Museum today. Join D+C McTravels as we explore Greenfield Village. Here we are at the Josephine F. Ford Plaza.
Let's go. Good jump.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Greenfield Village Railroad today. For your safety, please remain seated at all times, keeping your arms, your legs, and especially your head inside the rail car. And my name is Conductor Sue, and I'll be with you on your journey. We're going to wave goodbye to our station masters today. We've got Pat and Denise and Hans and Amy. We got like a full house there. A whole herd of station masters. That is the loading dock for the Model Ts. There you can get a ride on an authentic Model T from the years 1914 to 1927. And as we round the corner, you're looking at a big white farmhouse, and that's the birthplace of Henry Ford. Farmhouse in July of 1863. And as we go past the farm, you're going to take a quick peek down Main Street. There's lots to see and do in Main Street. You can go to the Ford Motor Company, the Wright Brothers Cycle Shop. Ladies, you can go into Mrs. Cohen's Millinery Shop. There's Sir John Bennett's Candy Store, our 1913 Herschel Spillman Carousel, and starting at 11 o'clock, our frozen custard stand is open, and there's nothing better on a hot day than our frozen custard. Around the bend here, you're looking at a cluster of buildings behind a white picket fence. And that's the Thomas Edison's Menlo Park Complex. That was built originally in 1876 in New Jersey, and thousands of patented inventions were produced from this facility for things like the phonograph, the microphone, and practical incandescent light bulbs, just to name a few. And then, if you Parlors District, up ahead you'll see the Ackley Covered Bridge. That bridge was built in 1832 and we acquired that from Southwest Pennsylvania. That's the gateway to Porches and Parlors. Once you're in Porches and Parlors, you're able to tour the beautiful historic homes we have back here. You can check out the birthplace of Thomas Edison. Go see Robert Frost's house. Or check out Noah Webster's house where he was writing the dictionary. And now we're slowly coming into the Susquehanna station. So please remain seated as you are until the train comes to a complete stop. We're going to listen for a blast to the left if you'd like.
No, we're going to full circle.
There's the whistle, so if you'd like to exit, you can do so now. That's the oldest windmill in the United States. That was built in the 1640s, and we acquired that from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And then at the end, we have our cute Daggett Farm. That's a pre-revolutionary farm built in the 1750s in Andover, Connecticut. That's a small working farm. They have excellent presenters in there, and they would be glad to tell you any day how life was in the 1750s. And the beautiful locomotive that's pulling us today is the number 3. And that it is on the books as being the oldest regularly operated steam locomotive in the United States. Its original purpose was to work in Michigan's Upper Peninsula in the copper mining industry on the Calumet-Hecla line. Torch Lake is one tough little locomotive and it weighs in it. And now we're coming up to the Henry Ford Academy. That's a Wayne County charter school here in Greenfield Village. It costs nothing to attend, but you have to be entered in a lottery to see if you'll be one of the lucky chosen. Back here we house the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We have 9th graders as well, but they have their classrooms in the museum.
These are school classrooms for a charter school.
And the body of water on the other side of the school, that's the Swanee Lagoon. And the Swanee Lagoon is actually a rainwater catch basin to help prevent flooding in Greenfield Village. Oh boy, boy, boy.
You gotta stop and get some water.
And now we're coming to the Firestone Farm. The Firestone Farm was built in 1828 in Columbiana County, Ohio. And that happened to be the birthplace of Harvey Firestone. He was born in that house in December of 1868. And Harvey Firestone, not only was he a good friend to Henry Ford, he was also the creator of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company in Akron, Ohio in the year 1900. The Firestone Farm is a working farm, and it's very interesting to come back and see how they're working this farm on a daily basis. There are still some baby lambs and a couple of piglets in the barn, if you like little baby piglets.
This is Henry Ford's house.
So this is the Ford home. Remember I told you about Henry Ford? Who invented the Model T. About this house is probably, he probably lived here. There's no TV, huh?
Oh, and Barney Lidigot, or I should say Barney and John, since Barney, in the left in that joint picture is Barney. Yeah, so you can see. How much they each is uniform?
His original house ended with this wall.
And how many people were in there?
At this point in time, 8.
8. And
But they don't know that yet. Number 5 is on the way, so they need space. Luckily, William Ford and his father had carpentry skills, so he has the know-how, he has the tools. They have woodland on their.
This is Main Street. Main Street, Greenfield Village. We have the Ford Motor Company right here. Miller's School.
Ford Motors, Henry Ford started Kempton. Where are you guys from?
After 2 failed attempts, Henry Ford succeeded in the automotive business with Ford Motor Company. This building is a model after the company's first factory located on Mack Avenue in Detroit. Workers built several early vehicle types here starting in 1903. They soon outgrew the factory and moved it to a larger building in Detroit where the Model T was created. This replica is a quarter the size of the original building.
Standardizing our own parts, we made the process easier. The easier an item is to make, the cheaper it may be sold. And therefore, the greater number will be purchased.
That was all it took?
Of course not. We had to improve the manufacturing process.
You're talking about the assembly line.
Not yet, but we have taken the first steps. Our idea was to place the machines in a sequential order.
How was that again?
Try to keep up with us now, Miss Dunbar.
I'll do my best.
You see, we experimented with different ways of moving the parts along, so that when one man finished his bit of the job, then the part moved to the next man.
Oh, so hard.
Clarence, step in.
Here that you see in the sand, okay, that's where the wing wood is sitting on the bench as they're preparing it for the sand around the wing as they're getting it ready for flight. Well, during liftoff, when the airplane travels down the monorail, and remember the monorail is a 2x4 and that in back and broke a couple of pieces. Took a few days to repair it. That's why this.
There's a big fat policeman at the door, door, door. If you catch him by his collar, boy, you better holler. I don't wanna go to Mexico no more, more, more. Shane, I bet you. Shane, we got each other.
Here we go, riding in a Model T.
Welcome to Henry Ford's Model T ride.
Wow.
First time?
Yes.
Okay, first time in the village? Where are you from? Sorry?
Ohio.
Ohio.
We have a couple of your buildings here from Ohio. We have the Wright Brothers Bicycle Shop in Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
And we have the Wright Brothers Home also from Dayton, Ohio. I think that bicycle shop is probably the most historically significant building in here when you think of the history that took place in there.
Huh.
That's the actual building where the Wright Brothers built the first airplane that flew in New York.
That's old.
And it is an authentic Model T. It's really a 111-year-old car.
Wow.
And this is called a touring car. So this would have been a family car, we say.
So a touring car?
Touring.
Okay.
T-O-U-R-I-N-G.
All right.
This would have been a family car, we say. Copper tracks, it can also become an open car if you like.
Oh.
And interesting fact about 1914 is that's the year Ford began using his moving assembly line. So this would have been one of the first cars off that moving assembly line. And this car was actually built in 93 minutes.
Bill when?
93
It was
minutes.
built in 93 minutes.
minutes. Wow.
A whole lot faster than they build them today. Although it's a much simpler car.
Yeah.
The Ford built these Model Ts for roughly 19 years, from 1908 to 1927. We built just over 15 million of them. Amazing number of cars back then.
Yeah.
Especially when you realize that the population of America is only about a third of what it is today. The fact that 15 million of one model is a record that stood for 45 years. It wasn't broken until 1976.
What beat it?
Any guesses?
1973?
72.
Oh, 72.
Chevy.
Oldsmobile.
Volkswagen. I mean, there were more T's in the road than all the other makes and models put together. And for millions of American families, this is their first car.
Yeah.
And you know how you might get a little excited when you get a new car, when your family gets a new car? How do you think they felt when they got their first car? The windmill over here on the right is the oldest structure we have in the village. That was built in the 1600s. That was brought here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Brought here from the Cotswold region of England, and they were also built in the 1600s. They were disassembled and brought over here, each one of those stones with a number on it. You have a forge or a blacksmith shop, you have a dovecote, you have a barn, and you have a home. And they actually do a high tea here in the garden of the home. This white building coming up here on your right is Noel Webster's home, the dictionary fame. That was brought here from New Haven, Connecticut. And he actually wrote his first dictionary on the second floor of that building.
Wow.
The next building is Robert Frost's home, the poet. That was brought here only from Ann Arbor, Michigan, only about 50 miles away. The buildings down the hill there are a school. We have a charter school here, about 500 kids, grades 9 through 12. So in addition to the books and so forth, they use the village and the museum for living classes.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
That's also a lot of kids.
That is a lot of kids. This gray building on your right is Thomas Edison's Fort Myers, Florida workshop. That was brought here from Fort Myers, Florida. He used to go down there in the winter to stay warm.
Yeah.
And that's the building where we would do his experiments. If you go to Fort Myers, you see a building that looks exactly like that. There's the replica, that's the real building.
Wow, that's original. Nice.
And these four buildings coming up on your left are the Edison complex. So Thomas Edison was a mentor of Henry Ford. He recognized what Ford was doing, encouraged him, mentored him, etc. This long gray building is Edison's Menlo Park, New Jersey laboratory. It's the actual building where he invented the light bulb and phonograph and thousands of other things. Most of these buildings have a presenter in them that can tell you a lot more about the building than I can, so I encourage you to get into as many as you can. Question? Definitely you want to get into the Wright brothers, you want to get into that. I almost ran into geese over. You make a right there just before you get in, before the arch there, you get into our Liberty Craft Work, where you can see weaving, pottery, glass blowing, and I think tintype is open today. And that White House there, coming up, is Henry Ford's boyhood home. That's where he grew up. I was brought here from a farm only about 2 miles away. His parents were farmers, they wanted him to be a farmer also. Obviously he had other ideas.
This is the Thomas Edison complex. Laboratories is his birthplace of Thomas Edison's electric lighting system, the first photograph, and many other inventions. Greenfield village is very, very spread out and very big. Tons of houses that were brought here and restored at the Ford Greenfield village. Thomas Edison for his factory. This was his New Jersey Invention Center, not his house, Thomas Edison.
Let a good pitcher go by, hoping that it'll get past the catcher and somebody can steal big. For the umpires award, the pitch, unfair pitch is a pitch you pretty much can't get. The pitch is bouncing the 4 hole over his head.
Phoenix bat, just like what Uncle Cody used.
The guy with the black vest.
The Carroll family lived in this house on a 700-acre farm overlooking the river where it flowed into the Chesapeake Bay. This house was built between 1816 and 1836 in the St. Mary's County of Maryland. The wooden cover on this bridge protected the bridge's structure. Unlike the structure of the bridge, the cover was inexpensive and easy to replace. It was built in 1832 near West Findlay, Pennsylvania on the Wheeling Creek. Listen at work. I never did anything by accident, nor did any of my inventions come by accident. They came by work. Thomas Edison, inventor. This was Thomas Edison's Fort Myers laboratory. Built near Thomas Edison's winter home in Florida, this combined laboratory workshop gave Edison a chance to engage in scientific investigation year-round. This building here is the original from Fort Myers. Henry Ford talked Edison into letting him have it up here and built him a replica in Fort Myers. So if you go to Fort Myers, that is a replica. Sir John Benton Jewelry Shop. The shop was once a much-loved landmark in a busy commercial street in London, England. Sir John Bennett was the first successful watch and clockmaker. Stores occupied the building from 1846 to 1921. At Greenfield Village. Oh, this baby's moving out. Pretty fast one. Hang on. Detroit, Toledo, and Milwaukee roundhouse. Roundhouses were noisy, smoky, and dangerous. Nearly all the workers were male, and they learned their skills on the job. Diesel locomotives required less maintenance than steam locomotives, eliminated the need for many roundhouses. This was built in 2000 in Greenfield Village. And this roundhouse is from Marshall, Michigan.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at that!
4 to 5 men would push the locomotive on the round table to get it to the area that they needed to work on it.
Yeah, he's holding us.
Walk nice and slow. Find the rails.
Feel like something.
These are my girls. Into the roundhouse. In the pit. With that, we leave Greenfield Village.